Wait, get it out.
I know.
All right.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
You good?
Are you good?
You're good, Daniel. You're good. Awesome. Welcome to another episode of Keepin It Bean. Keepin It Bean is where we bring together. You jumped. I'm sorry.
That was
I know.
for no reason. That was crazy.
That was crazy. All right, take two.
Fucking ape hands.
Bitch.
That's crazy. Sorry.
Sorry, what's wrong with you?
Focus.
Focus.
We're
We gotta
recording
focus.
a podcast.
We got to do this every time. All right, and we're back. Welcome to another episode of Keepin It Bean. Keepin It Bean is a podcast where we bring together conversation, commentary, and culture all over a cup of coffee, or in this case, tea. Wow, I'm glad everybody did that. Almost smooth on my. We're not gonna act like that happened. That was good. And this is your host. If it's your first time here, my name is Marquise Davon. Keese, this American Negro, but don't ever call me Mark.
But you can call him Negro.
Don't do that either. It doesn't sound. I don't want to hear you say Negro no more.
But I'll say nigga.
Well, you know. On that note, and if you are coming back to this show, hello to niggas and niggas only. You already know what the vibe is. Okay. So you did that. We out here. If you want to support this here podcast, you can do so in two ways. The first way you can do so is monetarily. And so go back to patreon.com/marquisedavon. That's MarquiseDavon. You can do that for as little as $2 a month, which is $24 a year. But, you know, we're in a depression. It's economic anxiety. World War III is on the way. So I understand if you can't support me monetarily, you can do so non-monetarily. And that's by telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And word of mouth, I still believe, is one of the most powerful things because we love a good cosign. You can also do so by supporting me on Twitter if you want to keep up with the conversation using hashtag KIAB or Keepin It a Bean. If you are looking at all these lovely faces here on YouTube, you can do so by going to YouTube at Marquise Davon Productions and giving us a like, a subscribe, and a comment, please and thank you when this episode drops. If you want to watch this episode live, we drop every single Sunday at 10 a.m. You can watch the premiere, so grab your cup of coffee and join me in for that conversation as well. However, if I'm your Monday morning commute, you can also support by giving a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also watch this on Spotify too, if that's your thing too, but keep your eyes on the road. Safety first. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for coming back. I am so excited for y'all to hop into this conversation with me. We have a very, very special guest today. Y'all know this nigga already. You've seen the face. However, we have taste creator, DJ extraordinaire, social impact guru, executive director, man, the myth, the legend, lover of art, music, and everything and more.
I appreciate that.
Come on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's
That
up,
was
yeah?
good. Yeah.
I ain't never get an introduction like that.
I appreciate
This is
that.
that nigga. Come on, how you feeling?
Niggas can't have no shine, can they?
I know. Gotta take that shit away. Close the curtains. Fuck it is.
No, thank you so much for having me on the show. How do I feel? A little tired. I got a 10-month-old at home, so it
you're
keeps
a
me
father.
up. Yeah, running around. So this is
Yeah.
my first. But blessed, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of things that I couldn't have, but I'm here today, you know what I mean, hanging out with y'all, so I really appreciate it. And I think I might get a chance. People don't really get to see my side of humor or just me being normal.
Yeah,
You
that's
dig
a
me?
fact.
You know what I mean? So this should be a good time for
That's
us.
a funny nigga.
Yeah,
I
get
don't
the-
know.
yeah.
For those who do know him and for those who are gonna get to know him,
Yeah.
that's a funny nigga.
Get the nigga count out.
That's
gonna go.
I'm now put it there.
Oh wait, that'd be fire.
Low key.
Actually, low key. That
You
might
kind of
be a
ate
good
that.
You can do the thing,
All right,
yeah.
let me have fun with this editing. Yeah, there's another one.
Take a shot of
Another one.
espresso every time you hear nigga.
Heart palpitations. Yeah, it's not a heart attack.
That's all right. You okay? Go for a jog. The fuck? Stop
Fine.
complaining.
It works out. No, yo, thank you so much for being here as well. And so how we like to start the show, we like to do a nice little icebreaker, you know, when we hit into the show. And this is what we call the Keepin It a Bean section. So you keeping it a bean, keeping 100, being your most authentic, whatever your hot take is, that's what you are able to give. And so what are you keeping it a bean about today?
All right, so cool. So mine is it's not 2 in 1, it's just one. All right. But it has to do with film and culture. All right. Seinfeld was a terrible TV show, and we don't need another Bad Boys movie.
Oh, I 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hundo P.
I've actually never seen an episode of Seinfeld, but I agree on the Bad Boys thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, when they say it's literally about nothing, it's literally about nothing.
But he's a great comedian, though. I'll say that. But the show was just, it was light to me. I don't know. I may have watched maybe
Not the right episode, maybe.
16 minutes of
One episode.
Yeah, that's it.
Isn't
That's all I needed.
isn't that the show where the one guy like was doing stand up and he was like, he's a nigger. And
He was in the show.
Right?
Yeah.
He did it outside of it was another.
I was like, I don't
did
remember
see
that on the show.
Yeah, no,
I mean, a show about nothing.
It was a stand up, but so I don't understand all the hype about it, and I don't think we need to see Will and Martin on camera together.
Don't Martin be looking tired?
Yeah, I fuck with
All
both
the
of them, but I
time.
feel like sometimes they just need to fall back. At least on this one.
Yeah, Martin feels like life has worn on him.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks
he really
like
just
it.
wanna settle into like
he just needs to
You
chill.
know,
You know what I mean?
you hit age and your face starts to swell a little bit.
Yeah,
That's what I be saying. He be looking drained.
always tired. Like he's always huffing and puffing.
Like always got to beat a sweat.
yeah,
Don't matter the temperature.
it doesn't.
It doesn't matter the temperature.
He's
Don't
just
matter
that
what he
nigga.
got on.
Anybody else hot in here?
But he gave us the greatest sitcom in my
Yes.
opinion. Yeah, for me.
Respect to Martin.
Black. Yeah.
Shout out DC.
It was Martin for you?
For me, it's Martin. I mean, yeah, like just from character
Yeah.
development. I think from a cultural standpoint, I mean, what it meant to TV, what it meant for us being on the air that night, that with Living Single and New York Undercover. I just got memories like watching that growing up. You know what I mean? Just those shows. But I think Martin,
Crazy.
like, just comedic genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't really get to see that too often. I think like Jim Carrey has that kind of kind of energy, but and Jamie Foxx, of course, but. Martin was special, the TV show.
Yeah, it was Jamie. It was the Jamie Foxx show for me.
Jamie Foxx is amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
But Bernie Mac show came a little
Bernie
bit
was
later.
Bernie was my dog.
I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
count that.
No,
Yeah.
I count it because like if I'm looking at my generate like the Jamie Foxx show is what I loved growing up. Martin is actually what got me was one of my first iterations of seeing somebody working in broadcasting, which I went to school for.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
so I was
gotcha.
like,
Oh,
that's
that's
behind the
fire.
scenes is
Wow.
actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
However, if I'm thinking about something from my particular like upbringing, it was Smart Guy and One-on-One, where like my sitcoms of my
You
day.
dork.
Fuck you.
One-on-one was my shit.
Nah, one-on-one was dope.
Okay,
yeah,
And might have the best opening song.
Okay, because half and half gives it a run for the money every once in a while, but
Yeah.
One-on-One.
Brianna Baxter was
Sometimes
my
you let
that's-
yourself
yeah.
when there's nobody around.
Check 1, 2. Like what?
Yeah.
Nah, that shit slap.
Flex and flat app. Yeah.
Hey man, he shot his whole career down after trying to be Michael Jackson.
That was
so-
actually crazy.
That's the sound his career made when it hit
Okay,
the ground.
but low-
That shit said flat out.
That was crazy.
That was horrible. I'm sorry. Wah wah wah.
Yeah, don't ever do that again.
My bad.
Yikes.
I tried.
Funny
Shooters gotta
enough,
shoot.
like that's the show that made me was like, "What's Nova Scotia?" And you
Yeah,
remember when
I
Mom
do
was always
remember
going, I
that.
said, "Does anybody want to travel to Nova Scotia?" Like, what is that?
Oh shit. We aged ourselves a little bit just now. That's what's up.
Yikes.
Because you don't see reruns of. I feel like I don't see reruns of One-on-One.
Not probably.
Like is that on streaming shit?
I like TV One.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's like the modern day UPN, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Black Business.
Yeah.
It's
Shout
not
out to
funny.
us for
Why
that.
y'all giggling? What you keeping it a beat? What you keeping it a beat about?
What am I keeping it a bean about? If I'm gonna keep it a bean, dang, do I want to talk about Summer House or do I want to talk about Demon Slayer?
What's Summer
Dude,
House?
Summer House,
I've been
Martha's
watching
Vineyard?
that. I hate that I've been watching that, but my girl watches it. Shout out to you, Lise. My fiance watches it, and I kind of get
beautiful.
like stuck because
No,
it's entertaining.
It is very
Preston is my guy.
entertaining. Yeah, yes.
I like Preston.
we. We
Summer
know Preston
personally.
Yeah,
For
personally.
real?
Yeah, we were all on the
Don't
same
say-
show together.
I gotta tell Lisa. She gonna be like, oh, introduce
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I saw. We were hanging out. What? We were all at the same party. What? 2 weeks ago? Or was that last week? Oh, it's Pride. 2 weeks ago.
She likes him. She was like, he seems like the most sensible and the most knowledgeable of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a few of them that get on my nerves, but he seems to be like the most down to earth and like level headed.
Yes.
on the show.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so-
Okay, I know everybody don't like Rhea, but I think she's good for TV. That's my hot take. Because if y'all know Rhea and that fuck ass dog, like Milo.
Oh, I have watched this show. I hate that bitch ass dog. I mean, not the dog. Excuse me. That's PETA.
Yikes.
I have seen this show. I kept hearing people talk about it, and I had no idea what it was called.
Summer House Martha Vineyards. That's when I watch my bougie black cousins.
That was like the
every
really
week.
annoying alpha with
Yes,
his,
yes.
Which one's Alpha?
I guess he's the one who like coordinated the whole trip.
No,
Like,
wait.
no?
Are you talking about the first?
Maybe I'm talking about the first season.
First season. He's probably talking about Jasmine's husband.
Yeah.
Silas.
Is that the Jasmine's the one who's pregnant right now?
Yeah.
Oh, Silas was the military guy.
military
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
It was
I
something
hated
wrong.
both of them.
He was something wrong with him.
Jasmine's a little bit more tolerable this season.
Okay.
That's why
Yeah,
we talking
yeah,
about
Damn,
that.
so I do know what this is. That's
You
what's
do,
up.
but
I'm here.
Everybody got to
I'm
tune
cultured.
into our bougie black cousins.
Yeah.
Cultured as
yeah.
fuck.
And I ain't never been to the vineyard, but still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
I ain't never been either.
I mean, a lot of my homies have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jack and Jill just wasn't for me.
That's what I was about to say. The
If
Jack
it
and
is-
Jill.
if it is for you,
I was
y'all,
one of
then
your
it's
brokey
cool. But I
blacks.
just wasn't. That wasn't me. But a lot of my homies were. So
Yeah.
shout out to Vineyard. The show's entertaining though, and I hate that I like it.
No, same. I didn't know.
I hate that I'm on camera
telling.
telling saying that I like it because
I know now it's solidified.
yeah, my
It's
girl,
out
she was
there.
like, I told you, I knew you.
I knew you
were
fucked
lying.
with it.
I
It's
knew you were
okay.
lying.
So I'm assuming it happened the same way that it happened with me and Housewives,
All of them.
Potomac.
Yeah.
Like my best friend Amanda, she was consistently watching Potomac, and I just, walking in and out of the house, I'd be like, she said what?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Who's that
Nah,
one?
hold on. I like Candace.
Yeah.
She said your uterus is dried out. Why would she say that?
That's
Where's the
crazy.
binder?
It's her binder. That
No.
They bring
okay,
they
okay,
brought a
okay.
binder.
Now the binder.
Two separate conversations. All right,
brought a
all right,
binder.
all right, all
The
right.
binder comes from my personal fave.
Yeah.
She pulled out and had every single receipt possible. She says, "Oh, your husband's number isn't this," and they bleeped out the whole number. She goes, "Well, that's my husband's number." But yeah, so that's how. That's my hot take. I think everybody should be watching our bougie black cousins, Summer House, Martha's Vineyard.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just living back home in DC.
Well, I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We were not around the bougie blacks.
All the Jack and Jill kids. My hot take, my keeping it a bean, is that it is okay to work a 9 to 5. You guys, you don't have to subscribe to like everybody being an entrepreneur, and quite frankly, like everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur, right? It takes a lot of work. It is long hours until you get that yield, right? The first couple years. That shit is yeah. You've been waiting to do that. I saw it too. The first couple years, you're like grinding, and people are like, oh yeah, I want a soft life, and I want to just like coast.
You got goddamn, you're on your back now. Go ahead.
Nah, niggas be like, I want a soft life, I want to coast, and da da da. I just want to work for myself, and that's cool. But working for yourself is like really exhausting, and it's a lot of work, and it's okay if you're not cut for that. It's completely fine, and there's a point in which you actually have to balance. Until you like decide to fully lean in to being an entrepreneur, there's a point where you have to balance your 9 to 5 with like building something on your own, because you can't just jump right into it. Some people do, I don't know how long it lasts, but like there is a midpoint, and that takes a lot of work. It takes a very specific type of person. I would say we're in a room with a lot of those type of people, right? But it's okay if that's not you, and like we shouldn't feel guilty, and we shouldn't be guilting other people for like opting to work a 9 to 5, because it is absolutely fine. You got to be able to characterize your own joy and your own happiness. And I just feel like a lot of people right now are so focused on building something for themselves without understanding the intention, the work, and the care that actually goes into that. Yeah.
Because I'm a 9 to 5er creative as well. However,
I think we're all 9 to 5 or 5 to 9, right? 9 to 5 or 5 to 9ers.
yes, something
That
like
sounds
that.
racist for some reason.
Yeah, I don't like
It's
that.
that ER at the end.
Yeah, that was a little too tough. What'd I tell you?
Shut up, you 9 to 5er. Get on the ground. Sorry.
Jump scare. No, I think it's actually interesting because I've been thinking about this a lot more lately around like even the idea of like part of the economy forces us to think that everything must turn into a bag, right? Like there's nobody has hobbies anymore because everybody's broke, right? And so I
can't afford to have a hobby.
I can't afford to have a
Crazy.
hobby. No, but
That's
I think
crazy.
I think that part of it is like a very real thing because I don't know like when that shift happened, but I have an idea of when the shift happened around like this economic anxiety that a lot of us are feeling. And the idea of content creation becoming an actual thing for some people, like, and is a viable for some people, not everybody, but they have the aspiration of it becoming a viable source of income. And so the idea of getting paid from TikTok, the idea of getting paid from YouTube, vlogging, people knowing about your life.
I mean, the beginning, getting paid for Twitter.
Yeah, quite literally. I get get paid to tweet.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like,
I got a Twitter now, y'all.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
Oh my God, that's what I thought you were gonna announce.
Oh,
Said,
no, I don't.
He's a Twitter nigga now.
I'm still scared to tell people because it holds my words accountable, and that's scary. I want to still be able to say whatever the fuck I want to say.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We keeping it being over here.
I'm trying to put some money down on how many years it takes for me to get canceled.
Child,
Next month.
next year. I'm gonna give you 11 months. No, but I do think like part of it is that everybody is so desperate to make a certain amount of money, and we all have to have a certain level of income or try to like live a particular kind of life. And so I think content creation for people's perception is a very easy way to create another bag. Yeah. But I think a lot of times why people fizzle out as fast as they do is because content creation is actually a much longer job, right? Like I did a career day at a school the other week, and I was sitting there, I was like, I don't think people realize, like, even in the world of podcast production, when I was doing, before I had this lovely team behind the camera.
Hey,
yeah, thank y'all.
Shout out to the gang.
Yeah, gang. But I would come in,
That was crazy.
Come on, man.
That was crazy. Don't
again.
put that on me.
Never again.
Don't you dare put that evil on me. That was insane.
That was insane.
You got it.
But I was explaining to them, I was like, yeah, I don't think you understand. Like, the part of it is the production piece, the pre-production, when I used to script out my shows, and then coordinating with the guest, setting up the entire set. So bringing in the table, getting the backdrop, getting the camera, the lights, the audio, testing everything, then having to sit down and record and try to manage all of it at the same time. Yeah. And then on top of that, edit the episode, and then have to do the social media management and engagement. And now that I'm moving it to more of like a business idea, how do I actually monetize this piece? Yeah. Which, when you look at each of these things, you have your brand awareness, your lead generation, and then your conversions. I'm like, that actually takes about 40 hours of my, if I'm going to break it into like a month, like one episode of recording will mean 6 hours of dedicated engagement, editing, and post-production activity.
While
so
balancing your full-time job.
While balancing a full-time job. And so I don't think like when we break it down in that way, it makes sense to people. Because it's also like I also produce other people's podcasts too, right? Yeah. And so it's not like I'm just doing my own and calling it a day. But then the other piece is like the business around podcasting, because I had explained to them. I said, nobody makes money off of podcasting unless you're part of a network. Yeah. Right? I said, as an independent podcaster, people know my podcast is my brand. But think about, I had to use like Rihanna as like the mold. I was like, she's really, really good at this one thing that she built from music. And now she's known for the things around her. And that's how I had to teach them how to like monetize, is like, now I have to take on these other businesses. There's the business of podcasting, but now I have to do speaking engagements, I have to do merch, I have to do live events, right? And I have to do workshops in order to make money around the thing that gave me the platform. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so I was just like breaking that down. They were like, so how do you work all day?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's the same conversation as like when we were in college and they were like, for per class, you should also add an additional 3 hours worth of studying. Right. Yeah. And I imagine all of us worked some sort of job while we were also in college. Right. Yeah. So it's just ends up balancing a lot. And I don't think people see that. And I think, thinking about like you, Mal, as a DJ, as an event curator, like as a just multi-hyphenate, well, all of us, I guess. Yeah. It's just a lot. How are you balancing all of the things, right? Because part of it too, as a DJ, and I'm by no means, I will never refer to myself as a DJ, but I gotta go out to parties and like network, and people be like, you know, I don't know if your partner thinks it's the same thing, but like sometimes you go out to a party and like you're always out partying. It's like, nah, actually, like I'm working. This is actually work. Like I'm taking that 30, 45 minutes, meeting as many people as I can, shaking hands, introducing myself, telling them to follow me on my social media. Here, check out this one clip. Watch out, Drake. Chill out, Drake. You gotta calm that down, Aubrey. Tell me. But damn, that hurt.
That was loud.
That was a lot of shit. But like I'm going out and I have to engage. I got to network. Yeah. And then I still have to, and I have to turn myself on for that. Yeah. And then go to sleep, go be with my family. Yeah. And then turn myself on again in the morning at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to get to my job.
Not his friend.
I don't get to work till. I mean, that's irrelevant.
All right, cool. Yeah.
I get there when I get there.
Cut that part out too. Yeah. No, I mean, I think when you think about it, it's like it's a daunting like sort of like task to always have to be on, but to really like just use like two separate sides of the brain sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about it on Friday when I was DJing. I was like, yo, earlier I was talking to somebody about like how to get grants coming in for a nonprofit. You know what I mean? And so that's one side of my brain, of course, thinking from a social impact standpoint and how am I connecting with like community partners and what am I doing for like young adults in the city? And then I got to go like flip the script and I get just the outfit change is everything. You know what I mean? I got to switch. I got to find a way to get a nap somehow. And then go party for 3 to 4 hours with people who their intention is totally different from what I was doing earlier.
Right.
You know? And so, and not only that, but thinking about my personal life, which is much more important than what I do like outside of the house. You know what I mean? Like my family, nurturing that. It's something that I don't think people like really are aware of enough of, and really it's like the preparation piece is what people don't understand. You know, like being a DJ, being a content creator, just the amount of time that you have to give to actually prepare to make sure that it's quality work. Because for me, it's really about like the quality that we put out and the standard. We could just be putting out a whole bunch of bullshit, but for me, I think in what I'm doing and what I like to leave behind is more so like people seeing like, oh, he was passionate about what he was doing. And so he put the time and energy into it, you know? And so, but that takes time, that takes resources, that takes energy, that takes like picking up a phone and being like, yo, I need this. And then having to call the next person because that first person didn't give you what you needed, you know what I mean? And so just that constant, like trying to figure out balance and also being like, you know what, sometimes I need to like just take a step back. And then arguing with myself and being like, no, nigga, like I'm not trying to take a step back. I gotta keep going.
That's the hardest
you know
part.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I like struggle with at times. And it's like I hate that I'm on Instagram sometimes or on social media because I see and I'm just like, damn, like this person's putting this out, this person's putting, and I mean, like I don't want to get caught up. It's not more so comparison. It's more so being like a race. I ran track in college, right? And so keeping pace was always about like what you're running your own race. When you start like looking in other lanes, that's when you start like trying to do too much, trying to switch up what you got going on, your running speed or whatever. But it's so easy because we're so like saturated in what we see on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And so
Zanga.
Black Planet. Oh my God. What is it? Yo, this nigga going. Yeah, for real. Yeah.
AIM. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else.
Can't call until after 8 o'clock.
Yo, yeah.
It's after 7.
Yeah,
it's after 7.
My AOL screen name was crazy, by the way.
We had Sprint.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What was your AOL screen?
Yeah.
Lamac 69. It was my name backwards in 69, and my mom was like, "What is that? What's
oh shit!
Lamac 69."
I thought you said Lil Mac.
Lamac, LAMAK is my name backwards.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking at 16, man. You know what I mean?
XD Richie.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was so clever.
I mean, so I'm glad that shit is over with. I'm glad we got rid of those. But yeah, just trying to figure out like that balance. It's kind of like a constant struggle between like doing enough and saying, okay, it's okay to not do something right now.
Well, I think that's, to me, I and I think I told you this before a couple weeks ago, but like what I appreciate about you is that like you will always release quality. Like I think you are a very intentional individual. And I think about it as like, for me, it was watching you roll out the Neat experience.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved watching like how you were able to do that because that was something you took a couple years to like curate around like what this is. And so I think around like there are some people who are able to like bust out event after event after event. And it may not be the intention, but as you were talking about Neat, it was like there's a very particular community that you wanted to grow. There was something, one, that also felt like this felt like an actual extension of you because like I sit here and watch you through social media and then just do various events. Like when you talk around being careful and wanting equality and all of that, I think is an extension. And why, like even at the beginning, I was like, somebody who appreciates art and culture and music and like respects the history of everything. I think that's where you go into. And I was like, you don't understand how mad I was that I could not make that.
It's all good.
I was so sad. And I look forward to whenever it happens again, I will be there. But to see the experience and see how different people talked about it, I was like, okay, you achieved what you wanted in that space too. So talk around like that moment of like, cool, I want to put this event together, but you wanted it to be a particular quality because you also talked about missing a certain piece of community that you were looking for that you felt just didn't exist. So how did that fill the void?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it just, that came out of not, so I think it was sort of like a rejection from a space that I like had sort of like helped to cultivate a community in, DJing and just like connecting. And a lot of I'm not shitting on any DJs, but I think for me, where I am right now, spinning and doing what I do is more so to create community and connect people. We can smoke hookah, we can do bottles, we can do that shit anywhere. But I think for the moment, where I am is if we can find a way to connect beyond like just the partying, and find a way to get money, and find a way to do more for like our community, our culture, we can still do that partying. You know what I mean? But I think if anything, that's what my aim is, and I think that's what my goal is. I think that's just what it is. And so, what I had done was created a community in the place that I was. There was another event that was happening at the space, and for whatever reason, they canceled the night. And when I tell you I was pissed because I'm like, yo, this shit was about to blow, and it was like, it was going to be something amazing. It was like Labor Day weekend. I saw it happening. It was like people were hitting me up, yo, mom, coming through. It was the most reposts I'd ever seen for whatever we were for the promo. And they hit me up like the day before. I was like, yeah, like it's something else going on with the wedding, so you chalked. So I'm like, damn, okay. I was pissed. So I sat on the roof, and that was a light flex because I used to be able to see I used to be able to see the city. Like,
so just so y'all niggas know.
On the roof.
So I sat on the rooftop
and I had a cigar, and I was just chilling, and I was like looking downtown, looking at the skyline nighttime.
From his rooftop.
From the rooftop. And
I got money, motherfucker.
Count it up. And so
Cha-ching. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah.
My bad.
Kept the nigga count.
Up,
is the nigga counter still going?
Is the nigga counter still running?
Oh, it's still running.
So it was just I saw like downtown. I was like, yo, I called my cousin. I'm like, yo, Bug, like, let me know if in LA if there's some stuff in the city where it's kind of like exclusive but inclusive. You know what I mean? So it's like people know about it. Those who know about it know about it. Those who don't know about it want to know about it when they find out about it. But it's quality, and it's not like I'm not trying to keep anyone out. My thing is like just creating a community, and the community usually. My bad, damn. You know what I mean? But
I don't know how, but every time we gotta zoom in on it.
Right, like just.
But the people who know about it, they're gonna bring the like-minded individuals who are gonna continue to just come and support.
Yeah.
And so I was like, started looking up names. I'm thinking about names. I'm like, Blacklist. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, nobody wants to be on the blacklist, and that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I kind of felt like I was on something that I felt like I was being outcasted, and I was on my own blacklist. So I was like, let me just figure out a way to just bring like-minded communities together, individuals that I know, and make it so that it's exclusive but still inclusive. I felt like everywhere in the city in Philly, you can go and just go to parties, you know? And that's cool and all, but I think for me, I got tired of that shit because I was like, yo, like, I don't want to keep seeing everybody. And there are a lot of people who are out there who may not go to certain things just because they may get tired of seeing everybody, or they want a different experience, something that you can get in a Houston, in an LA, in a New York, you know, or Atlanta. And for us, I feel like you shouldn't have to leave your city to get that kind of experience. What I wanted was another option and something that I didn't see for myself. And so I was like, let me create it. So Blacklist was something that I had just like churned out, like made the deck. I got with a graphic designer. I mean, not one of my homegirls, good friend of mine, out of Atlanta, who I went to school with. Got with her, came up with the idea because I wanted to make sure that whoever I pitched it to was like, oh, he's serious about it. Came up with the deck. I even got like small, like a little, not even gimmick, but cards to give out, inviting people, pretty much saying like it was a place that doesn't exist. Because that's what I felt like it was for me. And so
initially I thought it was a sex party.
Yeah, like, when I sent it to Elijah, he was like, yo, Ma, he was like, this could be taken in a couple different ways. And so, you know what I mean? And so
everybody got their own things, you know.
That's the next party.
And so it was Blacklist, and I went with it and created the website and everything like that. It took time and it took energy and took money. And then right around probably like 2 or 3 months after that, like I had been laid off during this time actually. Wow. But got a job as an ED and kind of like to put things on hold. Still, I was like churning it out, thinking about like what it was going to do. I talked to a few people about it just to see if they were on board. The place that I was looking to have it didn't work out. One of the things that I really wanted to focus on was making sure that I was spending my money with like us. You know what I mean? And like there are a lot of different venues out here that say that they're like inclusive or want us to be in there, but as soon as that hits that 40% or too many of us, Music too loud, y'all. You know, it's too many of them in here. I mean, let me change.
It's getting a little hot.
Yeah, I mean, let me change the dress code kind of thing. And so for me, I was really I'm mindful of that because I'm an educated nigga at the end of the day. I'm not dumb about like how you guys move and whatnot. And so let me figure out the best way to do it for like my group of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so to fast forward like a year and a half, almost 2 years, I was talking to a friend of mine who's actually on the board with a nonprofit I work, and he also has like this. Him and his sister have a group called Kinfolk Brown, which is pretty much educating Black and brown folks on just like good spirits and whatnot, alcohol and whatnot. And so talked to him about Blacklist, and he was like, "Ma," he was like, "Yo, you might as well just do it. You know, like just don't even wait. Just figure out a way to do it. Figure it out." He was like, "If you want to collab on it, then I'm down to work with you on it." So that was it. I mean, a couple of months before that, Zinzi. Shout out to Zinzi. That's my homegirl.
Okay, top tier.
Yeah. Told Zinzi about it. She believed in it so much that she was like, "Ma, if you want to put an ad in my Zinzine, Zinzine is a magazine." Yeah. We were the first John. Yeah. She put an ad in and was like, "Yo, like I want to show you love, and because I believe in it so much and it's necessary in the city, here's an ad for it." You know what I mean? And so did it all out of the love, and so co-signed right there, and then worked with Jimmy and his sister at Kinfolk Brown, and we were like, "Yo, what kind of curated event would be around like good spirits and like the type of community that I wanted to do with Blacklist?" And it came up with like Neat. And granted, there are other things like out in the city that are like similar, but I think if anything, what stands out is definitely the quality and finding like the way to do it. You know, I'm really big on like whether it's the venue to like who we use to like what the promo looks like. All of that shit is important to me. I don't want to half step about anything, and I want people to come to be like, "Yo," they got a cousin in New York, be like, "Yo, nigga, I just went to this thing. You got to come down next time." You know what I mean? Or like, "Yo, like, I just want that." However, whatever city you live in, I want people to be like, "Yo, I know of this thing. You should come check it out." You know? And they may not be able to get on the list, which is even doper to me. But I know, and I'm not saying that to exclude them, but I'm just saying like we got 75 tickets, y'all.
And that's all you got.
You know what I mean? And so
it feels like, and I don't know if this was your intention, but it feels like even the culmination of Blacklist was a convergence of your two communities through like your two career pathways, right? And then the people who attend it will haphazardly be coming from like multiple worlds, multiple spaces. And I think that's perfect, right? I think that's the way that people who are 9 to 5, 5 to 9ers, like build and create and cultivate something. That is that's the through line to find success in like being an entrepreneur and creating something for yourself, is like finding that convergence point for, you know, the two worlds that you might exist in, right? And so with that, like, what my question is, like, was that intentional, or did that just was that happenstance? Like,
I think it was happenstance, but I think in a way it was intentional as well. Like I wrote stuff down. Like I was really, really thoughtful about how I wanted to speak about it, who I was telling about it, and who I knew that they would tell about it, you know? But then also like just my community, and like I said, that I was building, just the people that I know, like young professionals, even older professionals, but like professionals that enjoy doing more than just what they do, 9 to 5, than just what they're known for. I don't think any of us are monolithic in any way, and so like monolithic, we don't exist in that space. And so for me, it's kind of like I do a whole bunch of shit, you know what I mean? And I feel like I should have the freedom to do that, and do it well, as long as I'm like intentional and really like passionate about it. When it comes to the work that I do in the community, that's one of my passions. I would do that for free. Like I would work with young Black and brown kids, young adults, however I could, for free. And DJing is the same thing. Like I'll pull up on anybody's block with speakers and turntables and spin if I need to, you know what I mean? And so for me, it just kind of made sense. I think if anything, what was cool is that the professional space and the professional network that I created before learning to DJ just came along with me too, you know? And so that's kind of how I got like more corporate gigs, more like well-paying gigs. I wasn't like trying to chase money. It was more so like, I know Kamal's a good person, and he also knows how to DJ, so I'm gonna hook him up. You know what I mean?
And it's dope to be able to exist in those two spaces, right? I feel like creatives sometimes don't feel comfortable, don't feel safe or belong in those corporate spaces. And even sometimes like those corporate people feel intimidated by the artsy fartsy creative. That's true. And so to be able to like live in both lanes.
It's been an interesting space, honestly. I think I was talking to you about it. My one boy was like, You said what? Shut up. But my one boy was just like, yeah, Marquise, like you get to live in your passion a lot more. And so like you still get to have a 9-to-5 that still is aligned with you, but you also have space to like do your other stuff where like for him, he was like, I don't get to do all this all the time. Right.
Yeah.
And I realized, I was like, dang, I really am privileged to be able to like be intentional about the world that I wanted, because I said I ain't working no fuck ass job all day. Like I can't be miserable. But I also needed space, and so I'm thinking about this, and as like I listen to you talk, I'm like, everything for you feels like it all makes sense in your ecosystem of like the social impact component, which I love that you have, but the artistic space, the intent for culture, the intent behind that, and so there's a lot of intention, and so something I'm just curious about is even to like take it back a little bit too to. Let's go to a younger come on. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Lamac on AIM.
So let's go to Lamac.
Let's go holler at Lamac.
But
in
like
the group chat's talking wild.
But in reality, like I'm interested in like where this kind of started for you too, because they're like, I know you have like a love of art, and like even the fact that you and your partner get each other like art, right? Like I think that is so I think that, but I think it's dope. So like where did that start? Because I think you live a life of intention, but was it always like that, or did you grow into that?
I think it was something that I kind of grew into based on just like influences, you know, like older cousins. Of course, my mom she passed away in 2010, but she was like just the person that sort of like drove a lot of like what I had going on. And then just being like a sponge for culture, you know what I mean? Like just when we got Miles Davis behind us, you know what I mean? Like we have, you know, like not only that, but I was a huge just like fan of, I was a kid in the 90s, you know what I mean? So whether it was Nickelodeon, MTV, BET, VH1, HBO,
You're absorbing literally
all
everything.
of it, but I appreciate it because I saw like growing up in Philly what it looked like, you know? Whether it be like City Blue being on the street, City Blue looked different, like, you know what I mean? Or when the Gallery was here, and Gallery had like so many sneaker stores, 3 sneaker villas, you know what I mean, and USA Boutique and all these other shops. And so for me, like being in the city, summertime, hanging out, block parties, Lemon Hill, of course the Platte, but just all of that stuff, like Uptown, that's where I'm from. Shout out to Uptown. But just being like a kid of the 90s and growing up, you know, my grandma, like we lived in Mount Airy, me and my mom. But my grandma, like we had that grandmom house, you know, where everybody
gathered,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Right. So in the projects, like I think people were like, if you didn't know about the projects, you didn't go to the projects. But if your family was there, it was just community. You know what I mean? So I got Miss Beverly and her sister playing the Whispers, blasting it outside of her house. I got my cousin Russ, who's got new Jordans on. I got my cousin telling me like what to do, like, a whole bunch of other stuff, just hanging out.
whole bunch of
other stuff, just getting into shit. You know what I mean? But I think for me, just being like soaking all that up, and then not only that, but I think my mom was just really instrumental on like what I was around. You know, like not only from like having like coffee books and knowing what like what important, like how important Black literature was in our home. But Black art as well. So we had pieces hanging up, and they may have not been the most expensive, but they were important to her, which meant a lot. And so seeing that, just growing up in that, and then honestly, I fell in love with hip hop. You know, and I think that's just where it took off. I wanted to be a journalist for Vibe magazine, Love magazines back in the day.
I bet you did, you little nasty.
I did, you know what I mean? But no, a lot of them,
It was on King magazine.
No, the ones that the ones that didn't have plastic on them, the ones that you could just pick up.
The ones that you could just
But I really like just Vibe magazine because aesthetically, I just saw Black people like in large image, like beautiful pieces, and a lot of stuff that you see on Instagram. The way that like I look at Instagram now is pretty much like a magazine for me. And I didn't do that. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a journalist for Vibe magazine. Didn't work out because I didn't take the internship that somebody told me to go into my senior year. Yeah, I mean, her broke my heart. I was bitching. Damn, I wish I'd have took that.
It's okay.
Because I knew somebody who knew the editor in chief.
Shit.
At the time, and I was like, you know, it's my summer, Mom. I'm just trying to chill. I'm about to go run track down south. I want to chill, and but shit happens. You know what I mean? But I think I never fell out of like I always had magazines, always like all those things, literature and whatnot. And so just seeing us in a different light was really important for me, but also like understanding the world that I live in as a young Black man. It wasn't like I didn't see like police brutality happening often. It wasn't like growing up in the 90s, you didn't see like things on the news and whatnot taking place and how that impacted my life and my lives of other like black families that I knew of. And so, it just kind of stuck with me. It grew on me. And I think if anything, it just was something that I couldn't shake. So, I mean, the older I got, the more and more intentional I became when it comes to like the type of spaces that I'm in and occupy.
But
it sounds like
yeah, did I answer the question?
No, you did, because I think it just brought, for me, that helped me even connect a lot more with like how I got introduced to you is like a very particular kind of person, space that you curate. And that's why I was just like, I like when I'm in spaces where you're DJing or just spaces where you are just curating, because it's always been full of intention. Words. I can't use them. A lot of intention has been there, but not only just the intention, but you not only were witness to the culture, you are part of the culture, and now you are, And so it's, I think a lot of the time what I notice is like a lot of us get to witness a lot and see a lot, but the participation in it is a very different beast. And so bringing in a space where you got to grow into it and appreciate it, you got to really internalize it, and now you're actually curating it. I think I see that as the person you are today, which I think is so dope. That's why I was like, where did this start? Because I was like, that's mad cool.
Yeah, just seeing it. I think like eventually having the courage to not go with the flow. I mean, not even to go with the flow. Always go with the flow, right? But not going with, but I think just not going with everybody else and what everybody else is doing. I think just being okay with like finding your crowd. And just being and rolling with that, you know what I mean? Facts. Like if you build it, they will come. I mean, it's kind of corny, but it's true.
No, it's facts.
Yeah, it's a fact. You know what I mean? And so
it sounds like assurance is the word, right? Like being exposed, being ingratiated in this like community and in this culture. You grew up with like an assurance of who you were, and how you fit into this space. I think oftentimes for people who are kind of existing in multiple worlds, and I hate using imposter syndrome, but like I can't think of another term to better describe it. Right. But like as the creative, you don't feel like you fit perfectly in the mold of the, you know, the business person, right? Or the accountant or the whatever. And as the academic, sometimes you feel like you don't fit directly in the space of the creative and the artist and the curator and the DJ, right? And I think moving the way in which you move and kind of walk that line in between both worlds shows like a lot of assurance, a lot of certainty in yourself. But for other people who might be experiencing or might be feeling that same level of imposter syndrome in these different spaces, and I imagine we all feel it at certain times, but we've worked hard to combat that. What is something you would say for a person who is like struggling navigating as the young artist who like right now is a classroom teacher, right? But wants to make music. But every time they go to these open mics, everybody like, I don't know you. He's like, yeah, nigga, because I've been sitting here grading papers all fucking like, you don't know me. That's why I'm out here. Like, what would you say to that person who starts to get down on themselves? Because we talk about like comparing ourselves. We talk about scrolling, like mindlessly scrolling and starting to get caught, scrolling. And start to get caught up in that. But how do you reel yourself back? And it'd be interesting to hear from like everybody, right? Because we all exist in that space. How do you pull yourself out of that feeling of not belonging when you exist in multiple worlds?
I mean,
I take up space. I learned to take up space because I was a kid who did not like taking up space a lot of the time. And so for me,
quiet ass.
No, everybody will tell you. Like I found my voice when I started doing theater, quite literally. But in reality, though, for me,
fellow ass nigga.
Yeah, stop playing. Okay.
That was a bar. Can I get some credit for that?
Yeah, okay.
My bad.
Because what the theater historians, thespian ass nigga. Ooh.
Niggas using words.
I was trying to think of something.
It's all right. Yeah, no, I think I had to figure out, like, I learned early, if I'm going to be fully honest, I realized I was trying to, when I used to play basketball, I only played basketball to, like, bond with my mom, low key. like, because she played basketball, and so like that was it. But I was like, I like my cello, I like dancing, I like theater, like this is really what I'm into. And so I had realized like I could be the smart kid, I can be the artistic kid, I could do the sports if I chose to do them, right? And I can engage in all this stuff. But I really had to figure out this space.
You're tall and you're black.
I chose the things that began to like make me happy, and then I found an extra confidence in myself when I was just like, oh, I'm black and I'm talented. I mean, I'm smart, black and talented. No, I'm smart and I'm talented. In different things, right? In your head. But I think as I had realized, I had to learn how to embrace my multifacetedness of like all the things that I was interested in. I hated being pigeonholed. Like I felt like being stuck in one spot meant I had to just be known for one thing. But in reality, I was like in different eras. I was telling Juice in the last episode, I was like, different people know me from different things. So like if you knew me growing up, you knew me as a dancer, you didn't know me as a podcaster. If you knew me in college, you knew me as an activist. If you knew me outside of college, activist, but podcast has been my main thing that people see me in. And so for me, it's when I fully stepped into education where I was just like, yeah, but I'm not just a teacher. Like when I realized, I was like, I can't just be Mr. Richards 90% of the time. Like I need time for Marquise. I need time for Marquise Davon. I need time for Mr. Richards. And I fought for that balance a lot of the time. It's like the biggest reason I left the classroom was like, I didn't have the balance. And I was like spent too much time being Mr. Richards and not giving enough to myself. And so for me, I've always said like, I have so many interests in different things, but like the people I looked up to growing up had interest in different things. Like I'm like, yeah, you can be a writer, you can be a thinker, and then you also enjoy, like the fact that Malcolm X also enjoyed photography, right? Like that, I said, yeah, you can be this person and like have your own set of joys as well. And I had realized, I said, I get to give myself my joy, and I got to play with capitalism, so I'm gonna have a job. But like in reality, like I'm in spaces that allow me to exist and fill my cup in so many different things. Education is my purpose. Podcasting is my soul work. And then the piece that I'm still looking to find is getting back into like really that artistic bag. I want to be somebody's dramaturg in a theater production and to be able to like be in that world again. That's the one piece that I've been missing. Like haven't been. And I used to go to the dance studio every Sunday. Like I taught classes. I was there. That was like the thing that made sense for me. So I think that's for me where I had realized I have multiple passions and I deserve to nurture all of them. Yeah. So that's how I balance it out. But like going and seeing other people's art, going to other people's events, that was low key what replenishes me to remind me like, oh, I don't only have to exist as one way. So that's how social media for me, I'm like, people have different entry points to Marquise. It's just a matter of like, where. Yeah.
I think I've always existed as the ignorant intellectual. And what I mean by that is like, shut the fuck up. And what I mean by that is in high school. That's why you work so hard editing. Gotcha. But even at high school, like for those that know me from high school, or even those that knew me in college, like I was in all the shenanigans, right? But like still had great grades, but never brought any of the shenanigans home. Like never brought that around my family, brought that into the house. And so I always existed in multiple worlds. I don't think it was until I started teaching, as to what you shared, that I realized, actually it wasn't until I quit teaching that I realized I could be all of these things in a work setting. Right? While I was teaching, that became my identity. Like it was, I am an educator. Like I would always talk like I am an educator. Right? That's why I'm sometimes like so critical of people identifying as the black male educator, because it's like that you're not just that. I'm positive, and you're bringing a lot of yourself. You're bringing other aspects of yourself to your work, right? And you get very caught up when you spend already as a teacher spending 14 hours a day, like on as a teacher. And so it wasn't until I actually quit that I realized I can exist in multiple spaces. I felt like I had to, it's like I had to go back home, turn off, download the other personality, and then step back outside. Whereas now, like I exist like this. Like I'm at work like this. I talk like this at work. And I think that's a necessity to also help me understand that I can exist professionally as my authentic self and bring all of that to my work, because my authentic self should also speak to my work that I'm doing with students, or to my work around education policy, right? Or to my work around diverse educator recruitment, right? Like it should speak to all of that, because that is how I've been successful in that space in the first place. So in that imposter syndrome, I think for me, one of the big things is constantly being reflective and reminding myself that, like, you know, you like, I think people might say I'm humble. I think. No. Damn. That's crazy.
That was crazy. I don't know. That's a really delusional.
That was wild. Well, fuck that point. All right. Come on. That's fucking crazy. Hey, nigga, fuck you. Sorry.
Wow. I thought we were keeping it a bean on the show. Authenticity. We're going to be honest.
I'm humble as fuck. Go ahead.
No, I will say, like, your humility does show up in a lot of spaces. It's the fact that I think part of your humility, it throws some people off, because like you are such like a big personality, but being able to witness you in the professional space, it's not that you're like, I think you walk around and you still have the air that you're that nigga, right? Well, but I think in your space of humility, it is definitely in that space of like, there are a lot of people who will kind of doubt you in that space because of the way that you choose to present. And so in your humility, you're like, I don't like to lead with my titles. I don't like to lead with this thing, because that gives you, then you don't get to see how that person's going to choose to treat you in that moment. Yeah. And so I do think like part of it is like, you don't like to be that braggadocious kind of person. Yeah. How do you balance out the imposter syndrome, right? Like we talked about doom scrolling and all of that. So how do you do it?
I think it's really just trying to take a step back and understanding like why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm really interested in, and also knowing the importance of like actually having something for myself. I think working professionally, y'all both know, like, you know how like draining it can be when it comes to like giving, pouring into others so much. And when I got laid off, one of the biggest things that like sort of happened to me, it was kind of like it was a bit traumatic, and I didn't know what I was going through. Unexpectedly laid off, and the way that it happened was the way that it happened, I think, was really fucked up. You know what I mean? It was people that I knew who I thought would talk to me a little bit more, would have given me a little bit more of a heads up, and the way that it happened was just terrible. But at that moment, I think what I realized was like, I'll never put myself in a situation where I don't have like autonomy or agency over like what's going on in my life, and I'll never give something or somebody else more than I'm giving to myself. That's real. You know, I mean, like family, of course, they got whatever, but as far as like, I'll always have DJing. I'll always have like some sort of creative outlet. Of course, like we talked about, like having to play the capitalism game. I gotta pay the bills, and that's cool. Yeah. You know, I'm cool with that. I'll work that out. But who knows that eventually what I'm doing in from my 5 to 9 is going to be able to pay bills eventually in some kind of way. And if not, at least I know that I'm in a space that I'm passionate about, where it's like I don't hate it so much, where it's kind of like, damn, like I hate getting up to work. I hate, you know what I mean? So I think it's just remembering, like, in some ways, everything that I'm doing is for myself. I got to be able to pour back into myself, and if I don't, it's not really worth like looking into. And so that imposter syndrome, like I get it every once in a while, but then it's like, all right, cool. Well, what do I need to tell myself? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn to make sure that I'm prepared to be in these spaces? Right. And sometimes, like, I've shrunk before. Like, I've found myself being like, damn, I don't really know these people. You know what I mean? But after a while, it got to a point, I want to say within the last probably like 4 or 5 years, and it took some time, but it was really like probably after grad school. I got my master's in urban ed from Temple. Shout out to Temple. Where I found that I knew what I was talking about, and I had the information to back it up, and I was like, niggas can't fuck with me now. Okay, you know what I mean? Say that. But it really was like, not real. Only that, and then it was kind of like DJing started to pop, and it was like I started to like really not even feel myself, but just have a confidence about like what I was doing. And sometimes I still got to tell myself, damn, come on, nigga, like you got it, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Black Caucus. I did. That was really dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I DJ for Serena Williams and them. Yeah. That was some sick shit. But it was just kind of like those kinds of situations, just telling yourself, yo, like you here for a reason. Yeah. You know? And I put the work in, and I continue to put the work in, even when I'm like not actively in front of like DJing or whatnot. I'm looking up things that are going to give me some sort of like creative inspiration. And not only that, like DJing is just like a stepping point, right. You know what I mean? I'm looking into like telling more stories. Really, like DJing, how I look at it is like telling a complete story.
Yeah.
For a night, you know. And what I'm working on right now is just an extension of that. It's also like filming like an artist series of black and brown and people of color, just creatives that are just doing niggas and doing creative stuff. And
Add to that counter.
You know what I mean? Add to that counter. But it was just like an extension of being like, yo, like I really, really enjoy like just documentary series, Spike Lee films. John Singleton is my favorite director of all time for me. And just like telling black stories and telling our stories in a way that's has a bit of quality, has a sense of like culture and music and all those things put together. And so, it's just all me. And so just being able to say like, look, do the work, and be intentional about it. Being intentional about it. It's not like fishing and be like, yeah, I wanted an opportunity and everything. It's just kind of like, this is for me and this is what I'm not going to give my energy into. You know? And how am I spending my time and who am I spending it with is really, really important. And I found that out like probably I want to say like after I got laid off, I was like, look, if it ain't about me and my tribe and who I'm rocking with, I don't have time for it.
Yeah. No, that's valid though. And I appreciate you also like explaining that piece, because I think oftentimes, especially just as creatives, there's a point in time where each of us had to go through and be like, all right, let me go play this game. Let me go here and be here and be here and be here. But even something I've learned, especially like 7 years of podcasting now. More and more as people get to know me, they understand who they're going to get. And I got the advice, shout out to KP. He was like, yo, Marquise, I want you to know that we see you and we appreciate like that good morning to niggas only every morning, right? Because there are games that different people have to play based on the access that they want. And I was just like, he was like, well, where do you want to go? Because if you keep doing this, it's going to take a little longer to get where you want to be, but your return will be so greater because you're going to have people who did not ever see you switch up in a certain kind of way. Right. And so I hear you talk about that, and it's like, that for me, it affirms like the space of like, nah, the more you are true to yourself, you will see that further in return.
The real will always prevail.
Because you said that too. You were like, when you show up as yourself, sometimes you shrink, you start to shrink in these spaces, but like people come to you, people flock to you. People come to you even when you might not feel like you belong in that space. If you show up and you are just comfortable in yourself, people will come to you and they'll be curious about you. There's that magnetism that we draw people to us. Once we feel settled in who we are and we reflect on our own experiences and kind of give yourself that not ego boost, but that essentially that shout out, right? You've done the things. Right. You should exist in this space because you've done the thing. Sorry for jumping in.
No. And it took me some time to like get to a point like that, because you were at the fundraiser a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to my cousin about it. I was like, yo, Bug, shout out to my cousin Bug.
That's the homie.
That's my dog. And so I was talking to Bug, and I'm like, Bug, like when I was on the mic just talking, it didn't feel like I was like trying. It didn't feel like I was a salesman for a nonprofit or something that I didn't believe in. The passion came through because I was like, I had to speak as myself. I had to come to myself. And I've seen other people switch up, whether it's like you're a DJ and you like, here we go again, y'all. We about to get on the mic.
Come on, everybody.
Yo, shout out, everybody. Shout out to y'all that do that, but that ain't me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a quiet DJ, but I'm really like the music speak. And if I feel moved enough from what I get from the crowd, then I'm going to speak. But it just ain't me. But I can be myself in that space, and I can also be myself in the professional space. But I think right now is I'm really proud of myself for being able to say like, yo, Ma, like you are who you are. You know what I mean? In any of those spaces. Shout out to Marlo. Like my name is my name. I don't take my DJ case off of my laptop when I'm at work. Like, and I can be in the meetings with whoever and they see DJ Ma on it, just because like I want you to know like I exist in both of those spaces wherever I am. And so and for the kids who I work with, the young adults who I work with, I want them to see that. They can call me Kamal, they can call me DJ Mal. They know I'm executive director and they know I DJ and do other things. But I think if anything, they respect it because they see, I think, a black man who is proud of himself and who's like living the truth that he needs to do for himself. And so that's what's really key. I mean, it's not easy to get to that point because there's so much bullshit around us that tells us to do the opposite. You know? So. And
that's valid. Like, I think, and it just goes back to like how we kicked off the year. Cat Williams. I keep jokingly saying it, but like I genuinely do think the energy that he was able to bring this year, authenticity is what's going to be rewarded in this year. A lot of the time people are smelling the bullshit. I do think there's like a big shift that's happening. And if we're looking at like the events that have happened so far this year, between the Cat Williams interview, the ethos of Club Shay Shay, the different rap beefs that are happening right now, a lot of it has been peeling back the curtains of the game that people have played for so long. And now it's like, but were you?
Yeah.
Is this who you were?
Yeah.
And so I think like the deconstruction of this illusion of the content creator who we're supposed to be in this world that we were told we were supposed to be is actually breaking down a lot more. And so I see like so many more of my friends who are in the creative spaces or people who have been living authentically as themselves, those voices who told us like, oh, but do you have to be like that though? Do you have to do this though?
Yeah.
That's drowning out because now we see what's being rewarded. So I am curious to just know, like, and this is just for my pontification. Okay, we throw it out again. We throw it again. Okay, I said, you know, it's
be saying words.
Yeah.
I'll spell it though.
Oh, bitch, I was second. I was runner up, spelling bee champ. Stop playing with me. Runner up. Okay, I was second place. The first
Second place sounds better. Runner up sounds better.
But yeah, no, I've been thinking about that a lot more lately. So the conversations that I've just been able to have, but also just witnessing how pop culture has been shifting, and even the illusion of the establishment for like America in itself has all been shifting. And I'm so interested to see where 2024 is ultimately going to end, because we are halfway through, not even halfway through yet, and so much has been lifted and that we all kind of have to reckon with. And so, damn, I just appreciate this conversation.
2024, the reckoning.
It's the reckoning. Here we go. On your next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Will Drake ever find his blackness? Find out this and more on the next episode of Nigga Ball Z. Sorry. The autism kicked in.
I'm not gonna call back to that last episode.
You keep claiming
Y'all
that.
really
You keep
blaming that. We're gonna. Okay. Anyway, so no, Kamal, I want to say thank you so much for this conversation today. Like I got to finally tell you the other week, but like I genuinely appreciate the person that you are, what you represent, but also like the spaces that you have curated have been some of my favorite spaces in the last couple of years.
I appreciate
and
that.
It's been so dope to just witness you. So I'm just grateful that somebody as like intentional, as appreciative as you are, and like just the impact that you are having. I hope you are able to also see that, because like for me, I get to like look at you as one of those people that like you're one of the most refreshing people I see on my timeline, where I'm just like, this is really dope to see. So yeah, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's dope. Black men giving each other their flowers. That's beautiful.
No, because it's valid though.
Because I don't be doing it.
Come on, man.
I appreciate you, but I'm never going to say it on camera. I'll just call you a bitch ass and tell you I love you later on.
You should grow up and work through that.
Let's work on that.
Hey, man. Therapy gets expensive, bro. That should be
I'll send you a link. You get 8 free sessions.
Let me get that coupon. Not the Groupon for fucking therapy. Retell me not. All right, I'm done.
Come on.
Yeah, man.
Do you have any parting words? And if you do, please let them know, and then tell the people where they can find you.
So I appreciate being on Keepin It a Bean. This is a blessing. And I said, niggas be saying it's a blessing a lot, but it really is dope.
Hey, wait, that's funny. I never
right.
Niggas do be saying it's a blessing.
But no, I think if anything, I think just being acknowledged. I don't take anything for granted. I think like friendship, making genuine connections is really, really important. And so being on this, being able to share like my experience, especially with y'all, and outside of when we're connecting different spaces, is really dope. So I appreciate the platform. This is top tier. I mean,
full circle.
Let's fucking go.
This is top tier. And yeah, so I am DJ Maul. Sounds by Maul on Instagram at Sounds by Maul. This is where I dropped that shit, right?
Yeah.
Drop that shit. Wait, you gotta do that.
Oh yeah. At Sounds by Maul. SOUNDSBYMAL. At Sounds by Maul. Also, so I'm the executive director of the Monkey and the Elephant, which is a nonprofit cafe that supports and employs young adults who have aged out of foster care between the ages of 18 and 24. So we're located at 2831 West Girard Avenue in Brewerytown. Most people call it North Philly. I still call it North Philly, but it's Brewery Town to people who gentrified it. And so,
Why'd you look at me?
oh no, I'm saying I had to look away to the camera.
We're in Francisville.
Yeah. I think Francisville was Francisville though all the time.
That's right. Yeah, we held it down.
But yeah, so if you're ever interested in coming through the cafe, like I said, it's a dope space. But not only that, but we have a lot of different like programming for the community. We want to make it a community hub, and that's the energy that I'm putting behind it. And so so I DJ, I'm executive director, adding filmmaker to the list eventually. So just check me out, follow me, and I'm around.
Nah, facts. And please make sure you go in and get that breakfast bagel. Really fire. You customize your own if you need to. Like, it's a really good situation. And your coffee is really good, by the way.
Slaps.
You know what? Yeah,
Like,
I've been working on that.
The young people's artwork too.
Well, we have a couple shows. I mean, we like you can follow the cafe at M&E Cafe on Instagram. And so we have a couple shows coming up. This Friday is actually gonna be really good. Y'all might want to come if y'all around.
I'm around.
But yeah, so like I said, it's really about just creating community, being intentional, and showing others what we can do when we come together and just like not on bullshit, but just like just being ourselves. Yeah. You know?
Thanks.
So so I'm around.
Nothing but a word.
Yeah.
Afuera.
Yeah. Does that mean I'm around?
Outside.
Oh, okay. Right. I took French, man.
Yikes.
I'm Elijah Ray. For those of y'all who don't know me yet, I guess, I don't know. Who is Elijah Ray on all social media platforms?
Including Twitter.
Including Twitter. I'm back being a Twitter nigga.
Including X.
We don't do that.
I don't think we do that anyway. I don't know. But who is Elijah Ray? Ray is RHEA. You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. And we love on wax. Some things coming in the works. Shit's been on hold for a little while. We apologize, but we're back in full effect very soon. So, yeah.
Nothing but a word, and you already know what it is. It's your boy Marquise, Marquise Davon across all social media. Make sure you follow the podcast, Keepin It a Bean Pod on all social platforms. Do Diligence.music on all social platforms as well. We have been also just casually dropping some of our previous episodes. You can watch an episode with The Inglorious. You can also watch an episode with Chill Moody, and you can also watch an episode with Namara on my YouTube as well. And so if you're like, hey, I want to listen to some local artists and some pretty decent music, not pretty decent music, it's actually very good music. You can go there and also just see like, hey, what is Tiny Desk missing? An interview. And we got our due diligence, okay? So be prepared to be on the lookout for that. Also, for our listeners, now that you made it to the end of the episode, Keepin It a Bean is not going to be as frequent going into the summer. I'm going to take a little bit of a break as well because I do deserve it. We went through damn near 25 to 30 episodes. We had plenty of guests. Yeah, so lots of really, really dope conversation. And by the time this episode's out as well, I'll be hosting Hearts and Harmonies up in Manayunk. And so over at Blondie. Yes. And so they'll be featuring a couple local artists. I'll be hosting that night. So come out for a good night of music and arts and all that good stuff. And come and join me as a host. And one more event's going to be announced soon too. So we out here. So I'm excited, but... Yeah, you know, low key, high key. Yeah.
Talk that shit.
If you want me to host some of your events, please let me know. Okay. If you need me to do a speaking engagement, I've been a keynote before. Okay. Hook your boy up. Okay. No, but other than that, thank y'all for joining us for another episode. I really, really appreciate this conversation. You are welcome back anytime. You are now official friend of the pod. So come through anytime you just want to chat some shit.
I'm with it.
Cool. Other than that, peace.
Y'all be safe.
Bye.